Welcome back to the live stream, round one of the World Sports Car Challenge. We apologise for the issues, having some teething problems, but all have been resolved now, and fingers crossed we can get some racing underway. For those of you just joining the stream, we are just about to start a 3-hour challenge with LMP2 and GTE as they all go behind the safety car. About to start their warm-up lap, or they are currently on their warm-up lap. So let's run down the order for those of you that have just joined, because obviously we have just restarted the stream. In P1 is Lorenzo Arisi for Reborn Racers. That is the number 44 in charge of the LMP2 field and currently coming down towards turn 3 at the moment. Following behind is Sebastian Cosmal with the number 7. They're taking one of the guest skins for this evening, or this afternoon rather, but they are the I just had a blank there. They're showing us the number 7, do apologise, but they are the Poland Sim Racing team. And then we have Fair Racing in third with Cliff van der Veen in charge of that car. Then we have Fabian Walton, the first of the Hansa Racing cars, followed by Alexis Lupano in the AMBU LMP2. The defending champions, Blasvara in the number 1, lines up in P6, and Samuel Vida for Team RSI in P7. Then we have Christos in P8 for the Rookie Monsters 82. And then we have Larios Philippakos in the number 9 for the Eidos Motorsport car. Chris Gonzalez in 10 and 11 in with Max Barkley for Hansa Racing. That's the second of their 2 cars. If we're going to go through to the GTEs before we get going, because they're about to start the race now, but Mikhail Nizio, Daniel Wisner and Gregos Bulat all in their respective positions for GTE. I do apologise, I seem to have run out of time because they are about to go racing. They have to wait until they get to the start-finish line before they begin the race, and we've already got one car going off, and that is a disaster. One car going wide, but we're going to stay with the leaders because they're about to begin the race. This is Lorenzo Arisi taking command of this race, and they are racing. All the cars go for it, and there's a massive collision. That is the Eidos Motorsport car that goes wide off the track limits and comes back and re-enters. It's chaos for the LMP2 class. However, Lorenzo Arisi retains the lead, and Sebastian Cosmala is in second. Cliff van der Veen and Blasvara all in their respective position. Blasvara up by a few positions as they come out of turn 1. Let's go down to Mikhail Nizio in the GTEs, because they've just begun their race, somehow managing to miss all of the carnage and defend his position. Then we have Daniel Wisner and Gregos Bulat defending their positions respectively as well. But here come the 2 BMWs, 1, 2, and then a field of Porsches behind, all trying to get past it as well. And then we have Secure Racing, that is the Poland Sim Racing car, with Gregos Bulat in charge as well. Back to the lead of the LMP2s though, because there's a small gap beginning to emerge as they all start to go around for the first time. Lorenzo Arisi making good headway for the time being, at least half a second advantage at this stage of the race. Not too sure what happened at the start of that LMP2 field, but there was a lot of chaos. We had 2 cars spin out down on the back straight as we entered the fast, before we even went past the pit lane, and then we have the Eidos Motorsport car going sideways as well. All the LMP2s finishing their first lap now. Lorenzo Arisi setting the fastest lap, 1:21.918 as he comes across the timing line. Good under the braking zone there is Blasvara in that Black Hawk car. They're obviously the defending champions, but it seems to have not got such a good run on the exit onto turn 3. Go back to the GTEs to see what's happening there, because they're just coming across the timing lines now. Here comes Daniel Wisner in the Black Hawk car, takes the inside line away, and Mikhail Nizio falls down into second place as a result. Not good news there for Mikhail. Obviously qualified in first, but he's still on the tail of that other BMW and looking to take the advantage. He's got the slipstream. Has he got enough to get down onto the inside for turn 4? He's going to stay behind for the time being, and of course in the background watching and waiting patiently is Gregos Bulat in that number 88 car. Over a second lead for the LMP2 leader now for Lorenzo, and here comes the 88. Massive advantage under the braking zone there as he comes down into the middle sector. Lorenzo Arisi sets a new fastest time, 1:19.496 as well for the LMP2s. Good stuff from him. He's increasing his advantage over Sebastian Kosmala in the car behind. That's Poland Sim Racing. Coming across the timeline, bit of a gap now between Black Hawk Racing and Mikel Nizio. Here comes the 88 BMW down the inside into turn 1. He's just going to let him go and drops down into 3rd place. Good stuff here from the GTE leading cars, and I have to say a fairly large gap until we see another car in GTE, and that's the 4th place car with Turka Hakkinen in charge. Of course, that's Vortex Sim Sports coming down the line, and they've got the car behind as well with Chris Servet, and that is for I think that's a guest car actually. No, it's Cheaper Hawk, I do apologise. Go back to the lead in LMP2. Still maintaining the gap. It's about 0.8 seconds now. So Sebastian Kosmala taking that gap just down slightly for the next lap or two. Able to just attach himself to the back of the Reborn Racers car, number 44. And then we have Cliff van der Veen in 3rd as well. He's coming down through turns 3 on the exit, and then we have a fairly large gap between himself and the 4th place of Blatz Varro in the Black Hawk car. But Fabian Walter in the 69 for the Hansa Racing car, and P5 is close on his tail as well. Only 0.3 seconds between the two of them as they come down into the 2nd sector. Going towards GT as well, see what if Mikel Nizio's been able to regain some ground. No, he hasn't. He's still in 3rd place and losing to Gregor Spulac, who's obviously in 2nd place in the 88. There's a lot of cars going off onto the limits. You can already see the track lines going wide and on the exit of turn 4. Oh, sorry, I do apologise about that. Let's have a look in between these mid-pack of LMP2 cars because they are fighting. Here's a fight for the lead actually. We'll go on to them because the 44 is under attack from Poland Sim Racing as they come down onto the exit of turn 4. There's a slow BMW on the inside line as well. Not too sure who that is, but there's one BMW stationary on the inside of turn 3. Seems to be moving once again, but the 44 still leading the way, able to get past without issue. And here comes Sebastian Kosmala and Cliff van der Veen as well. Cliff van der Veen has gone down the order because one of the cars has actually taken his position away. Oh no, that's actually a lapped car, so I do apologise. There's a number 7, 2 of them, which are the guest cars for this evening, and one of them has been completely lapped. And I believe that is Claudio Souza because he's all the way down in 32nd place. But Sebastian Kosmala now dropping back from the lead of this race, and Cliff van der Veen looking for an opportunity to take 2nd place away. As a result, he's got the slipstream. Can he get closer before he gets back to turn 1? Let's find out. Good under the brakes there from Cliff van der Veen as he tries to attach himself onto the back of that number 7 Poland Sim Racing car. Got a good exit out of turn 2 onto 3 as he gets onto the next long straight. And here comes the GTE traffic already. So a lot of work to do for these LMP2s, and of course at a track like Interlagos it's going to be extremely difficult to get through the traffic without causing all issues or losing time to the other cars. Number 44 looking to try and get past one of the back marker GTEs. I'm not too sure who that was. Maybe it looks like the number 12. And here comes Cliff van der Veen trying to take advantage of this traffic situation. This is going to be for 2nd place in LMP2. But he himself gets stuck behind one of the Porsches as well. Not good news for the number 3, or the 41, sorry. Getback's underway though, and then here comes Balatsvara as well in 4th place, trying to take advantage of the situation as well. There's a big gap between Daniel Wisner, the leading car, and Gregor Spulat now. 9 seconds between the two of them, so something's happened to Gregor Spulat and Michał Nizio, because there's a massive gap between all 3 of them actually as they come down into the 2nd sector. Here comes the 88 on attaching himself onto the back of the Black Hawk Racing car. This is going to be for 1st in class as they go through the 2nd sector once again. Not too sure if the BMWs have an advantage here, but they seem to be doing well in the hands of these 3 teams. Obviously they are leading 1, 2, 3 as manufacturer is concerned. He's got to focus. Obviously we are in the early stages of this race, so anything can happen. Just noticed that the timing is actually broken on the bottom left of the screen as well, so I'll have to inform you of how much time is left. We're only 13 minutes in to the race thus far, and of course we have seen quite a bit of action and a lot of LMP2s going down the order as well. There's only 13 of them that are actually competitive with one another in terms of the timing. And here comes one of the LMP2s now. I think that might be Iceberg Racing. Oh no, yes. Oh no, it's TCS Racing. Thinking about going down the inside there, a bit of a lag spike. And how's it going to affect these 2 guys? Is he going to try and go down the inside into this tight right-hand hairpin? No, he's not. He's thinking about it. He actually is. He's going for it. TCS Racing taking no prisoners here this evening, really trying to get past and even pushing the back of the 88. That's a bit cheeky there from the LMP2 driver. He's going to go down the inside into the last corner and gets the job done, but it goes wide, but manages to get that LMP2 tucked in between the 2 of them. Now that's cost the 88 a fair bit of time. Gregor Spulat was attached right onto the back of that Black Hawk car, but no more, because he's fallen about at least 0.3 or 4 seconds behind as a result. We'll go over to the lead of LMP2 for the time being as well, because the 44 is just coming up into the main straight start-finish line. So a gap of 1.5 seconds before you see Sebastian Kosmala in the Poland Sim Racing car. He's just coming into turn 1 now, and look at Cliff van der Veen in the 41 Fair Racing team. He's right on the tail of that number 7 car. Both navigating their way past the Vortex Sim Racing cars. They come down into turns 4 through 5 without any issues. It's a fairly flat full throttle corner for the LMP2s and the GTE, so no issues there. And obviously you've got this long double right-hander where you have to feather the throttle, hardly any brakes involved, and the 41 goes down the inside as well. Michał Nizio just tucks out of the way, decides not to get involved in that battle, but that's going to cost him time in his own hopes, because obviously he is defending P3 in the GTE class for the time being. It's all happening here for the teams at Interlagos. We're only 15 minutes into the race and it's already starting to kick off. We did say in the briefing, take it easy, but clearly those words have been chucked out the window because everyone is absolutely putting the pedal to the floor for this one. 2 leaders in GTE. Both get by without issue. Now the leader's got an advantage of about 1.2 seconds compared to Sebastian Kosmala. He's just coming into turn 6 and 7 now. He's always thinking about going down the inside of the BMW GTE, but thinks better of it. He's going to wait until he gets to the hairpin before he decides to go down the inside. But that's cost him a fair bit of time now, because the lead has gone way, way down to about 0.5 seconds as he goes into the next few set of corners. Sebastian Cosmala choosing to go around the long way of the BMW M8. Has he got the job done? Yes, he has. But Cliff van der Veen, where's Cliff van der Veen gone? He had to go way, way on the outside line to get past that BMW, but manages to get it through safely. I think that might be the number 50 Tickle Pickle racing car there that was struggling to make the track wide enough for these LMP2 guys. Let's go to the battle for the GTE, because that's still raging on. There's a bit of a gap now. Ooh, Blackhawk Racing nearly get tapped by the AMBU car as they go down through the last corner. He thought that there was no one there, but he just manages to rise back up into the latter half of the track as he notices that someone on his inside line. That would have been a disaster for the Blackhawk car as they come down into turn 1 once again. Secure Racing right behind. 0.4 seconds between the two of them as they come across the timing line that last time round. Oh, and there's a spun car. There's a car that's turned around. I believe that might be the Hansa Racing team. It seems to be back underway now, though. No issues. No yellow flags have been put out. It's green all round. Currently Lorenzo Arisi has the fastest lap time, 1:19.496, only 1/10 faster than Sebastian Kosmala and 0.4 seconds faster than Cliff van der Veen for the time being. We're looking at the 5th place car, which is with Fabian Walter at the moment. That's the Hansa Racing, and they are close behind Blasfaro in the defending champion Blackhawk Racing car as well. So good battles going on all through the grid. Looking further down the order, might be about for 7th place as well, and that is between the number 14 cars. He goes really wide to get past these 2 GTE cars. A bit dangerous there from that driver, and that is of course for the Seawolf Motorsport team, or Nitrace rather, apologies. But yeah, that was a fairly scary moment. I'm sure the GTEs didn't appreciate that either. There's a rookie monster LMP2 just ahead up the road as well. And moving back to the Hansa Racing battle, because the 69 is actually closer now to the back of the Blackhawk Racing car. Blasfaro trying to defend that position. That is for P4 in LMP2 and overall, of course. Of course, Blackhawk Racing doing extremely well in GTE for the time being, but it looks like they may be struggling in the LMP2 category for this season. But we still need to see what Daniel Potter can do. Of course, he's the teammate for that car, and I'm sure he's going to give us some really good lap times. I flashed the headlights from the 69 saying, right, maybe he's just got that talking to his teammates, or he's getting a bit frustrated and thinks that he should be in charge of that position. Coming across the start-finish line again. Bit of a lead now between the leading LMP2 cars, 2.1 seconds, and then 2.8 between themselves and Cliff van der Veen is the next man. Let's go to Gregos Bulat, because he has just taken the lead of the race from Daniel Wisner. So we've just missed that. That's literally just happened in the exit of turn 3. Might have gone down into turn 1. But Secura Racing, the number 88, leads the race for the time being for that team, Gregos Bulat in GTE. And then we have Daniel Wisner trying desperately to get that position back. racing as well as they navigate their way through the latter half of this track. Just coming up onto the back of one of the LMP1s, or 2s rather. Yeah, I'm not too sure why it's lagging so much this time around, so I do apologise for that. But nothing has changed other than the circuit, of course. So I'm not too sure why it's doing what it's doing. But we'll try and get you as much action as possible, so I can only apologise for the lag, and you'll have to gawk at the replay file when it gets released. But on with the leader, Reborn Races. Lorenzo Arisi still in charge, and has to say a fairly comfortable lead for the time being, because Sebastian Kosmala is still going toe-to-toe with Cliff van der Ven for the time being for P2. He's making sure that they're not getting away for the moment. Go down to P5 because they actually got a really close battle on our hands between the 69 and the Black Hawk Racing car, although as I could do onto that, they're both navigating their way around the GTE cars that are fighting for position still here, and he goes down the inside into the hairpin. Nicely done there. Bit of seizure of tyre, and LMP2 goes a bit wide, and he's lost quite a bit of ground as a result of that. Let's see if we can find some good battles between some of these GTEs as well, though, because they seem to be going for it as much as the other cars and teams as well. Going to have a quick look at the GTE lead. Of course, Secura Racing still leading the way in the 88 with Black Hawk Racing close behind. Macau Nizio is still holding on to third as he's just coming out of turn 3 now, but he's got Turka Hakkinen right on his tail in the Vortex car. Looking down the inside into turn 4, is he going to try it? No, thinks better of it in that Porsche and goes right back onto the racing line to continue his charge. But yeah, Macau Nizio is starting to struggle on those tyres by looks of things. Of course, for this version of the circuit, we have got the sleeping policeman or the yellow curbing on the inside of them apex lights, and that's to prevent people from cutting the corners, as you're used to seeing. So it's impossible for people to gain an unfair advantage against their competitors and try and make those silly overtakes that we're used to seeing at Interlagos. But currently, Turka Hakkinen still holding on to 4th place. We've still got Christopher, who's in P5 behind. He's still in this battle as well for 3rd place overall. It's like a 3-way battle, and only about a second and a half between all 3 cars at the moment. So the pressure's on. Of course, BMW leading in GTE for the time being, 1, 2, 3. Then we have the other 2 cars coming down the road as well. This is Taco Viper Virtual Racing, of course, with David Buckley and Arkadiusz Triba. They're holding on to a fairly decent position of P6 in class. And then we have Alfie Lorison as well in the Rookie Monsters car. They're behind by about a second or so. Back to the leader of LMP2 though, Lorenzo Arisi. 4-second lead for the time being. Sebastian Kosmala just coming in to that hairpin now, sector 2. It looks like there's a bit of damage to that Poland car as well as he's coming down. Looks like he might have got a bit of contact on that rear fender on the right hand side. It's a bit crumpled and it's a bit discoloured, and the paintwork doesn't seem to be so smooth, so maybe some issues there for the Poland Sim Racing team. Doesn't seem to be affecting his overall pace though, because he's still got damn good straight line speed in that LMP2, and he seems to be keeping Cliff van der Veen tucked behind him as well, so not causing him too many issues by the looks of things. Oh, and he goes deep into turn one. That's cost him the position, and Cliff van der Veen goes straight through. Takes advantage of that situation. Of course, maybe it's just a bit of frustration, or maybe he just misjudged the braking point for turn one, but he went way off the apex, and as a result he loses down that position and down into P3 as a result. Go back to the GTE, see if we've got another battle on our hands, because there goes the number 88 Secura Racing car into the second sector. Daniel Wisner close behind as well in the 43 Black Hawk car, probably desperate to get that position back and lead this race once again. Of course, no one's losing out more than Mikhail Nizio, because he's just lost a further position to Turka Hakkinen. He's now in P3 in the number 25 Vortex Sim Racing car, so that is Rapid Racing down into P4 now. There's a lot of traffic here through this last few section of corners. Down into the last corner they go. A lot of LMP2s everywhere. Got to be extremely careful as they try and navigate their way through that small narrow piece of tarmac, but all seems to go well because they're all in one piece and no flying cars or pieces are going anywhere, and Vortex can hold on to that P3 for just a little while longer. Bad news for Mikhail Nizio, because Chris Servet has taken advantage of that situation as well, and the Chiba Hawk car moves up by one position into P4. So Mikhail Nizio really not having a good start to this race, moving down into P5 at the moment. Then we have Arkadiusz Satriba as well. He's right on the heels in the Taco Viper racing car. Are we going to see Mikhail go down by a further pace? This is a disastrous lap for Rapid Racing at the moment. Looks like Chiba Hawk Racing go wide on the exit of turn 3. There's absolutely tons of cars coming down the main straight. Team RSI take out one of the braking signs. And here comes the 32. Viper Racing take the position away from Mikhail Nizio. He goes down by another position. Arkadiusz Satriba looking for P5, and Mikhail Nizio down into P6. But here comes Alfie Laurisson as well. This is the rookie monster car. He's the next in order, but he's not the BMW that's behind Mikhail Nizio for the time being. So he's got a bit of breathing space, because that is Team RSI and Tickle Pickle Racing going through that corner there. I'm not too sure if they're fighting for position themselves, but of course they're not involved for the top 10 in GTE for the time being. Yeah, it seems to be maybe that this version of the Interlagos circuit takes a bit more FPS than I anticipated, so I do apologise for the lag and the spikes that are going to be occurring through this race. Of course, that will be rectified for the next round, so I can only apologise in advance. But back with the race. Here comes Taco Viper Racing, moving up the order. Mikhail Nizio now down into P5, so someone's had an accident. Not too sure. Oh no, he's in P5. Oh, nearly makes contact with the Viper Racing car there. Obviously the Porsche starting to move up into the podium positions now, as the BMW starts to struggle on tyres perhaps, or pace. Not too sure. I mean, he was P1 in qualifying, so maybe that isn't translating into the race setup. But the next competitive car is the Rookie Monsters car, and that's in P6. He's got a bit of a breathing space though, Mikhail Nizio. He's got about 5 seconds before he has to think about dealing with the Rookie Monster Porsche. Go to the second place car, Cliff van der Veen. He's still defending against Sebastian Kosmala in the number 7. Nice gap between themselves and the 44 for Reborn Racers. 44 up ahead going into turn 4 now, so a bit of breathing space for them at the moment as well. Of course, it will be tactics and pit stops that bring this back down for them. There's a lot of battles going on between the mid-pack for the LMP2s as they're all trying to navigate their way around all of these GTEs. We're on board with the rookie monster LMP2 car as they try and get onto the exit of turn 3. Behind, on the outside of the BMW, look, they're going 3 wide down into the turn 4, able to get the job done though, and here comes the AMBU and the Hansa Racing car as well. 83 defending, holding that inside line and obviously able to get back up to the traditional entry. And they're just coming up on the top 5 GTE cars as well. This is absolute carnage. And this is why endurance racing at Interlagos is so interesting, because if you catch some of the GTE cars in the wrong place, you can lose a lot of time, and that's what we're seeing here at the moment. The top 3 LMP2s getting away with a nice margin of around 14 seconds, while of course Blasfraro and the rest of the pack fight over what remains as they try and find a way through this heavy traffic in the midsection of the track. And 30 minutes have now elapsed, or 32 minutes to be exact, so half an hour into this race, and of course we are expecting the LMP2s to come in within the next 15 minutes or so, depending on of course how they've stacked up their engine mode and how much fuel consumption they're using. .5 seconds between the rookie monster LMP2, Alexis Clepano and Fabian Walter. 1 second between all 3 of them, and that is for the leading position of 6th place in class. Next car is obviously the Seawolf Next Race car in P5, and they're doing a really good job for their second showing in our events as well. Number 14's got a bit of a track all to themselves, nice open space for them. This is the perfect time to get those lap times in and try and extend the gaps or close the gaps to the cars ahead. Let's go back to the GTE battle. Turka Hakkinen, Arkadiusz Triba moving down the order. And where has Mikhail Nizio gone? He's disappeared from my screen. And he's in the pit lane. So Mikhail Nizio in the pit lane, not too sure what's happened there for the 13 car. Bad news for Rapid Racing, they're moving down the order, down into 30th overall, which is 16th in class. And he's parked up, he's had enough. So not too sure what's happened to Rapid Racing there. Of course it was looking really, really positive for Rapid Racing this time round, but retired to the pit lane for unknown reasons. So it's our first retirement of this evening, as far as I'm aware anyway. Actually, tell a lie, we've got 3 DNFs. We got Lazarus Philippakos with in 36th, Kieran Sharp, and then Mikhail Nizio, of course, joining them for the 3rd DNF of this round. So bad news there for those following teams, but Interlagos is a challenging circuit. It isn't easy to get by and survive one of these things, so obviously issues arising for some teams. 44 is still leading the way though without any issues. He's actually coming up onto the back of some of the LMP2 cars that are trailing behind at the back of the pack. Let's go back to the battle between the mid-pack though, because we're on board with Hansa Racing and the Rookie Monsters and the AMBU car with Alexis Clepano in charge of that one. Number 20 coming across the timing line now. Last lap. Let's have a look, see if we can compare these times and get some information on our screens. So leading car, which is the 83 last lap time. No, it hasn't actually come up on my screen, which is extremely helpful. So something wrong with my live timing there. So things are going wrong all over the place, aren't they? Nothing seems to want to work this evening. But at least the delta between all of the cars still works. That's the most important thing, because obviously we want to see who is racing who and at what stage. But we're still on board with the Hansa Racing car as he goes down through the mid-sector. bit of an odd line there going through turns 10. More traffic coming up in the form of the Chiba Hawk Racing cars. They've entered 5 cars this season, Chiba Hawk, so they are definitely the most numerous team on grid this evening, and of course through the championship they've got 4 Chiba Hawk Racing cars and then 1 which is named Mad Hawk Racing car, but it's essentially the same team. A lot of ground gain there by the 69 as he comes into turn 4. Is this the moment he's going to go toe-to-toe with the rookie Monster 83? So Christos Sakonis defending that position. That's P6 in LMP2 from Fabian Walter. Going to look down the inside. He's got a nice tight line going into the first of the hairpins. Gets back underneath them. Not able to get the job done just yet, though. Lost out some ground as he goes into turns 7 and 8 now. Hansa Racing still defending that position, and now is the time for Alexis Clapano to take advantage. Possibly going to try and take that position away, and that's obviously for P7. For the time being, we're going to go over to the GTE. Secura Racing still leading in the 88. Daniel Wisner having a lot of issues because he's dropped way back in that second place car. So Secure Racing got a bit of breathing space, got a bit of an advantage for the time being. I mean, they're entering the second of the hairpins now, so it's about maybe 2 to 4 seconds advantage over the second place GTE car. Then we have Turka Hakkinen still holding on to third as well. Let's have a look down further down the order. We've got Mike Crowing in the Natural Mullets Racing car there in P11. And then we've got Samuel Bentley in the number 55 behind, and that's the TCS Off Racing LMP2. Not such a good result as they had in pre-season testing at Sebring. Maybe the different track layout is proving a bit of a challenge for them, but still they're in the fight for the time being. About 1 lap compared to the leaders, already a lap down compared to the LMP2 field, but still ahead of all the GTEs for the time being at least. Fabian Walter is still under attack though from the AMPU racing car. Three-way battle here between all of these LMP2s. Okay guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and restart the stream. I think I might have found what the issue is. So we're going to go for a quick break, and don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. And fingers crossed we can solve all of the lag that we're experiencing here.